Okay, so I wanted to talk about ghosts today, and I'm going to start with a little experiment. I want us to talk about let's think about some famous ghosts in history. You've got the Ghost of Christmas Past, the Ghost of Christmas Future. I guess there was a ghost in Poltergeist. Can you think of any other ghosts that were famous? The ghost from what's the movie with Jimmy Stewart the Christmas movie?
Oh yeah,
It's a Wonderful Life. That ghost.
Ghost Dad, Bill Cosby.
Yep. Anyway, the entire
Was there a Ghost of Christmas Present as well?
It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like there needs to be, does there? Really?
I thought there was 3 ghosts.
I don't know. That seems like kind of redundant to have one of Christmas Present because you're experiencing Christmas Present. So what's the point of having a ghost of it? You know what I mean? But this is all neither here nor there with the question that I'm asking. My point is, none of these ghosts that you can name, or I can think of in the history of ghosts, has done any physical harm to any human being. I mean, can you think of one? I mean, maybe there is, maybe there isn't, maybe accidentally or whatever, but they don't seem dangerous, I guess is what I'm saying. And if they're not dangerous, what's the problem? I mean, what are we doing here? Why are we spending all this time being terrified of ghosts when they can't do anything to us?
Yeah, I mean, is the terror just more annoyance than is it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know really. I'd like to have somebody who is afraid of ghosts explain that to me because I've never understood it. Like, even if you get haunted, like, okay, so let's say you move into a house and it's haunted. Mm-hmm. You get haunted for a couple weeks. Like, after a couple weeks, isn't it like, I mean, that at some point you're basically living with the ghosts. It's not like a haunting anymore. They're just like, they can't. I guess I'm saying is like after a while, there's a limited shelf life on haunting. After a while, you're just living with the ghosts, and they're just. I mean, what does that look like? Are you just kind of like, hey, what's up? You know, I recognize you're a specter.
You're flicking the lights on me.
Yeah, you don't scare me anymore necessarily. They might not even be able to access the electrical panel. They may just be floating around, whatever they're made out of, fog or dust or whatever that is, which again can't do anything to you.
Yeah, it's like having a 4-year-old kid in the house or a dog or something. Like you just sort of.
It's even less dangerous because they can't do any damage whatsoever.
Right.
Other than, I mean, I guess they can make noises and stuff, but
I mean, if you had a finger in the door when they slammed it or something like that.
But even what self-respecting ghost would just be like, okay, I'm haunting this family, but oh, really? How are you haunting them? I'm just annoying them with noises.
Yeah, making chain rattling sounds. Yeah, I mean that stuff turns into, it's like living across the street from a railroad track or a highway.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The first night you're there, it's like, oh, I can't sleep.
This is the worst thing I've ever heard, and then 6 months later, you're like, you can't go to sleep without it.
Right, exactly.
Maybe that's what happens. Maybe you can't go to sleep without being haunted every night. I know the feeling.
Right, yeah.
So I guess I want to know what that. I would love to talk to somebody who's been haunted. First of all, to have them explain to me what haunting even means, because it sounds like somebody just coming to your house and
cold spots in a corner or something like that. Like, I felt a chill when I walked through this.
What am I supposed to do with that, though?
Yeah,
okay, so I feel a chill. Let's assume it's a ghost. Okay, we've established that there's a cool spot in this room. A ghost caused it. Then what?
Right. Just walk around it, or
or
wear a sweater, put on a sweatshirt.
Comment on it, and then what? The ghost is like chuckling in the background or something. Is that enough? That seems like a really, frankly, sad existence. And honestly, this is kind of a big announcement. And I don't mean to throw down the gauntlet like that. I don't mean to slap ghosts in the face with the gauntlet like this, but I am posing $1 million ghost challenge. If there is a ghost out there, or anyone knows of a haunting or a ghost or whatever, and can point me to a ghost that's actually done physical damage to somebody, physical. Like, doesn't have to be anything. It doesn't even have to be damage. Physical anything to anybody. I'll give them $1 million.
You give the ghost $1 million?
Yeah. I mean, I am sure that nobody's going to come and collect on that. I mean, I don't have it. I mean,
you don't need to.
No, I don't need to.
You can probably buy an insurance policy, I bet.
That's actually a good idea. Do you know how that would work?
I know there's like policies, like if say you have a baseball game and you want to do fireworks afterwards, or a concert or something
like
that.
if you do if you're holding a golf charity event and sometimes they'll drive the car onto the green, and if you break out one of the windows, you win the car.
Right.
Yeah.
Same thing. So you buy in a policy, and I think there's actuaries who calculate the likelihood that you can put out the window or whatever, and then you buy a policy for maybe it's $1,000. I would think the policy would be pretty cheap for ghosts. Maybe not though. I don't know.
Would that technically be considered an act of God? That's a good question.
Oh.
That's not an act of God. That's an act of Satan, really, isn't it?
I would.
But
think
again,
so.
What's the danger? I mean, I would pose the same question to those actuaries. What do they call them? Actuaries?
Yep, actuarials or something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are you insuring against? I don't get it. Even did that TV in Poltergeist do anything bad?
I mean, just the cable cut out, didn't it? Is that what?
Yeah, I mean, it just looked like what happens when the signal goes out.
Right. Yep. And I think there were some noises or like moans.
And so a
like
face
that.
came out of it. Who gives
Right.
a shit?
Right.
Didn't kill that girl. I don't know, man.
Actually, what you should do is just buy $1 million life insurance policy, and if the ghost kills you, then they get the policy, and if they don't, well, they should. That's not fair to you, though.
No,
You're
it
still
isn't.
putting money out.
There has to be some sort of insurance. I know
Right.
there's insurance because I've been on golf courses where they've driven the cars onto the green.
Yep.
How would that work in the situation with ghost insurance? Because I think the issue with that though is there's such a lack of expectation of liability. It's like, you ever see those things where you'll be like in the middle of a big building someplace and there'll be a huge like fish tank full of jelly beans, and it'll say something like, guess the exact number of jelly beans in this fish tank and win $10 million or something like that.
Yep.
Or like when you put, you ever see when they put ping pong balls in in a cubicle, when they're at an office or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And they put the ping pong balls in somebody's like above somebody's desk, and then they open the doors and the ping pong balls fall out. Mm-hmm. I wonder, the premiums for something like that can't be very high, right? And what are the like if somebody in the office example, if somebody opens the doors and the ping pong balls come down,
What's the insurance on that?
yeah,
I would think. I mean, are you talking like the risk of getting injured?
yeah,
Like slipping on the balls or something like that?
or just having them, yeah,
Or
like
like,
think one falls in your coffee cup and
Right.
splashes your keyboard or something like that.
Yep. Oh yeah, I would think, and if you're doing the prank, I think you would want to have a policy.
That's what I mean. I mean,
Oh,
does
like you want to get a
Can
policy so you don't hurt somebody.
Right.
Okay.
Do you pull a policy, pull a permit,
Right.
and then pull a policy?
Speaking of act of God earlier, if that's an act of terrorism, if the ping pong ball thing, that would be excluded.
I would hope that they define it as a practical joke. But again, the premiums are entirely dependent on how that act is defined. So the insurance that I don't know, what would you call it? The guy, the person getting opening the door to the ping pong balls. What do you call him?
I mean, are they the
Deceit,
the
not the
victim?
decedent.
Yeah,
Victim.
Victim. Yeah.
Yeah, like the victim's premiums. It's kind of ironic when you think about it. The victim's premiums are going to be totally dependent on. Wait a minute, no, that doesn't make sense. The victim's premiums. I mean, they're going to be opposite, like yin and like the victims and the victor. What is it? Victims and perpetrator. The perp.
Yeah,
the
yep,
perp.
yep.
The victim and the perp. They can't have the same premiums by definition. One has to be low and one has to be high on a sliding scale.
They're basically the inverse.
They're the
One
inverse
over.
of one each other.
Whatever
Exactly.
your premium is,
right.
the other one is one over that.
Exactly. Yeah. But I've also heard that what a lot of these golf courses do is they'll drive the car on the green, they won't have bought insurance and just assume nobody's going to bust the window out with a ball. And if somebody does, they close the golf course down.
They shut it down.
Yeah,
Yep,
classic.
yep.
It's they're out of town before anyone knows what happened.
I'd heard that a lot of those places will will put plexiglass windows, like they'll pull out the factory windows,
Yeah.
and put plexiglass in, or bulletproof glass, or buy one of those armored cars or something like that. So even if you hit it, it's impossible to win. Sort of like a carnival.
Yeah, like you can't get the ring is actually smaller than the bottle top.
Right. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, that's But again, I mean, that's just going back to ghosts. You know, if there is a ghost out there, or anyone knows of a haunting or a ghost or whatever, and can point me to a ghost that's actually done physical damage to somebody, I'll give them $1 million.
So I have a question though. Like,
Yeah.
what physical harm? Like, what rises to the level of sufficient physical harm?
Honestly, any
Like a
physical,
bruise, like any mark, or
yeah, but it has to be caused by the ghost somehow. I'm not sure if I'm willing to let that include the ghost casting something at you, like a chair or something. Because, well, I guess I have to include that because that is dangerous. But again, you ever see a ghost do that before?
No.
You ever known anyone who's seen a ghost do that before?
No.
Me
No.
neither. So
They'll
I'm
slide
not
the
worried
chairs
about
in
it.
and out of the table, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
But I've never heard of anyone getting hurt by that.
And, houses are creak all the time.
Right.
That's another thing, too, that I think it's like to me, that's kind of I don't know about if you call it a missed opportunity for ghosts or whatever, but if you're going to like create a unusual noise in a house, don't make it be a noise that sounds like a regular noise a house would make.
Right.
Make
Yeah.
it be something. I know sometimes they do, but the creaking thing just seems stupid.
Yep.
And again, there's an entire litany of dumb things that ghosts would have us or believe, or people would have us believe about ghosts that the evidence does not bear out.
Yeah, they have basically eternity to come up with something creative, and they're still reusing the cold spots,
Yeah.
the creaking floors, the rattling the silverware, sliding the chairs out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much opportunity there.
And they're just dumb.
Yep.
They're dumb, and it seems like they have so many. Even if they don't have any physical abilities, what they have available to them, what they're capable of,
Right.
And this is it. This is what they came up with as far as haunting goes.
Yep.
Creaking and chairs moving around and stuff.
It's actually kind of sad.
I mean, they got the whole world in front of them. They could do
Yeah.
anything they wanted. It's just, God, what a missed opportunity.